Module 2, Part 1, Building Your GAP Food Safety Plan of Action Manual. Materials needed to build a manual: a 3-ring binder, 2 inches suggested for your basic GAP audit, 3 to 4 inch binder for the harmonized GAP audit, sheet protectors, and a fine tip permanent marker. You will need 8 section dividers. You will label the sections as follows. Written response template. In the upper left, you will see DOC 1.02 USDA demographics. The title of this template is the Food Safety Plan of Action. You'll note that it says prepared by. Please write the name of the individual that is completing the manual in this section. Firm name or farm name, the contact person. This is the individual that you will like the auditor to contact. The audit site address. Make sure you're clear if there is just one audit site address or if there is multiple sites covered under this audit. Write clearly and legibly and make sure that all of this information is correct. The auditor will use this information to verify your certification records when reported to the USDA. Written response template. 1.03 USDA general questions. On the very left, the number and questions are taken from the USDA document. G-1. The question states, a documented traceability program has been established. The response section is for you to tell what you do in your farming operation to answer the audit question. Answer the question briefly without giving a great amount of detail. Let your SOPs, records, and supporting documents give the details. If you put the answer yes into this section, circle it. Make it clear that the answer is yes. This question here calls for a D. What does the D stand for? The D stands for a supporting document that supports the answer to this question. On the very right, you will notice another series of numbers. These numbers correspond to the SOP records or documents located in your manual. Here is another example of the written response template. Let's go from left to right. Did the auditee participate in a GAP/GHP training? Yes. When you circle yes, you're going to write a small description of your response here in this section. For example, John Smith has participated in several GAP/GHP continuing education workshops. Certifications of attendance are available for workshops attended. However, if certifications are not available, do not write that in this section. Only write what you can document and what you can prove. Perhaps you may use the term, the sign-in sheet for the training is documented in this binder. To the far right, it will note where the document location can be found in your Plan of Action Manual. Continuing with the written response template, here is an example of the farm map section. Question: is there a map that accurately represents the farm operations? Remember, if you circle yes, then you must write a brief description in the section provided. For example, farm maps provided by FSA NRCS or Google Earth are included in this document that accurately represent this farm's operation. The numbers to the very right will tell you exactly where to find that document in your Plan of Action Manual. Set up one map to answer several requirements. location, traceability, water quality assessments. Begin with an aerial photo showing the farm location and the layout, including production fields. There are multiple ways you can acquire an aerial photo of your farm. It can be taken from FSA NRCS mapping, county GIS systems, Google Earth, or they can be hand-drawn. This slide provides an example of an aerial photograph taken from Google Earth. You'll notice in the lower right-hand section of this photo, you have the latitude and longitude information that you will need to complete in your general questions in your demographic section of your Plan of Action manual. You can utilize this same aerial photograph to start providing detailed information about your farm. Locate the field boundaries. In this photo, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 fields that we have assigned numbers to. Utilize this same map to identify and locate your water sources on your farm. You will need this information in your farm review section as well as your water quality risk assessments. Once your water sources are identified on your map, you can then denote what water goes where. W1 goes to field 1, W2 goes to field 2, field 3, and field 4. Using this same map, locate the septic or animal waste areas. For example, you have the septic system here. You have already noted that you have a water source proximate. So during your water quality assessment, you have already determined that this is a good location for you to have a field and a water source. There are preventative measures employed, that the septic system is in good repair, and there is no leakage and no possible contamination to your field or to your water source. And you'll notice you have not noted any septic systems or any animal waste areas around water source number 2. Let's do a quick review. Farm maps equals many uses. You'll use your farm maps to show your location, Google Maps to show the GPS coordinates, and your latitude and your longitude information. You can draw your field boundaries, list your production fields for this year, and you can add new ones in the future. The field numbers that you will use will be the same numbers for your traceability system and the same numbers for your spray records. Your water sources will be noted on this same map. Identifying all water sources, including irrigation and potable water sources. What water goes where? Make sure that you have provided direction as to which production field is served by which water source. Animal waste and septic locations. Make sure that you note that if there's any point of contamination or any possibilities of contamination, that you have mitigated risk. You have provided this information not only on your map, but in your water quality assessment. In organic agriculture, organic growers will identify buffer zones around growing areas to prevent possible contamination issues. These buffer zones are usually 30 to 35 feet. However, if the potential source of contamination is higher, the buffer zones can be greater depending on the assessment that has been performed to mitigate the risk of possible contamination. On this written response template, you will note on the left the legal description, GPS, latitude, and longitude of the location of the farm as asked. Have you provided that? Yes. Then you write your response in the middle. A map of the main farm and or packing house is located by GPS and included in this document. GPS coordinates are as follows: latitude and longitude. You can find that information at the bottom of your map if you are using Google Earth. When you go to Google Earth, place the pointer directly over the entrance to the road. From that location, read the GPS coordinates at the bottom of the page and record them on your Plan of Action manual. The question posed on this written response template to the very left: are all crop production areas located on this audit site? You're going to circle yes. Your response is going to be, all crop production areas are located on this farm's managed premises, either owned or rented as described on the aerial photos listed above. Do not change this response. This keeps all the production areas, no matter where they are located, under one umbrella. One audit satisfies the whole farming operation. The USDA GAP certification program certifies the farm, not the commodity. Depending on the buyer, certain commodities may require additional audits. For example, leafy greens, tomatoes, and mushrooms. However, the main takeaway from this slide is to let you know that no matter what, you want to keep your farming operation under one umbrella. This will allow you to have one audit that will take care of your entire operation rather than paying for two separate audits. On this template, you are asked to provide the total number of acres that are farmed. That would be including acreage owned, leased or rented, or contracted. Yes, I own, lease or rent or contract my farmland. Once I've provided yes, I need to remember that I need to provide my written response here in the section provided. We're going to base our answer on a farm of 95 acres of total farmland. Acres of farm and orchard include pasture, forest and woodland, field crops, and any other fields used. So the first sentence would read, this farm owns and rents approximately 95 acres of farmland. Once you establish the total number of acreage that you are working, you are then going to subtract the total number of acreage that is in food crop production. Therefore, your next sentence would read, 15 acres are presently in food crop production. You take your total acres of farmland and you subtract the number of acres in food crop production, and your last sentence would read, 80 acres are not in food crop production at this time. Clearly stating this information gives the auditor the exact number of acres that he or she is going to certify under your food safety audit. The question posed here, does the company have more than one packing facility? Well, that answer depends on the following. What is a packing facility? Enclosed walls, covered lights, drains in the floors, washable walls, doors, coolers, restrooms, employee break areas, offices, and storage, all under one location. If it meets all those requirements, then yes, this company does have a packing facility. And do you have more than one? Yes or no? Most facilities, though, can be described as an extension of your field harvest operation. If you have a shed, let's say, you have a concrete floor, you have a water source for and a hand washing station, you have a roof to protect your workers and your crops from heat and weather, you are not considered to be a packing facility. If this is what you use, then your response might be, we do not operate a packing facility at this farm. If you operate a packing facility, then you will need to create a floor plan. You will see in the question above, is there a floor plan of the packing house facility or facilities indicating flow of product, storage areas, cool areas, employee break rooms, restrooms, and offices? Your answer would be yes. Because you do operate a packing house facility, you will have to require a floor plan. Make sure that your floor plan shows that the product flow does not have any chance at all of possible product contamination or commingling of products. Make your details very clear on where your storage areas are located, where your coal areas are located. Make sure that your employee break rooms are designated. Also, ensure that you have a designated smoking area. Make sure that this is not only posted on your floor plan, but it is also posted on your facility. However, if you answered the previous question as not operating a packing facility, then this response to this question might be, this question does not apply to our farm operation. Again, you will see over to the far right that if you are providing a floor plan to finalize this answer, then that floor plan can be found in section 4.06 of your Plan of Action Manual. On this template, you will see to the left the question posed, is any product commingled prior to packing? First of all, commingled products, what is that? Products from different farms are pulled together as to make up and fill up boxes or pallets. Also, commingling in organic agriculture means mixing organic and conventional products in the same boxes and or the same pallets. Commingling is prohibited. You want to make it very clear that your farm does not allow commingling at your operation. This is not allowed under traceability. The liability rests with the farmers whose name is on the box or whose name is on the invoice. The risk, you may lose the privilege to sell products to your buyers, and you will probably lose your certification status. So make sure your response is a written response stating all of your farm's name, fresh produce is grown and packed on the premises managed by this grower. No produce is commingled from other farms under different management. If you are organic, make it clear that conventional and organic products are not commingled at this farm location under this management. Regardless if farmers pass or fail an audit, they will be billed by the inspectors. If an unsatisfactory is assessed during your audit, the auditor will leave and you will still be billed for the audit visit. The auditor will not return to reassess your farm unless your prior bill is paid. We have provided some conditions under which an automatic unsatisfactory could be assessed. An immediate food safety risk is present when produce is grown, processed, packed, or held under conditions that promote or cause the produce to become contaminated. The presence or evidence of rodents, an excessive amount of insects or other pests in the produce during packing, processing, or storage. Observation of employee practices, personal or hygienic, that have jeopardized or may jeopardize the safety of the produce. Falsification of records. Answering of questions P1 or P2 is no. All of these are conditions under which an automatic unsatisfactory will be assessed. For additional gap resources for growers, please feel free to visit the website noted below. Thank you for your kindness and your attention during this presentation. Do we have any questions at this time?